And the child's arms, the ventral surface, from wrist to elbow, both arms, was completely without skin. It was raw red, meat. And it's quite a pinkish red. And the two doctors, the two MDs who were with us immediately said, "Oh, we'll take care of that." And he said, "No, you don't." They said, "Well, we'll do something to stop the pain. Let's at least put some local anesthetics on it." He said, "Does the baby look as if it were in pain?" And the baby was, at that moment, in the arms, had been picked up by one of the scientists, a pharmacologist, who had a bright red beard. And the baby was laughing himself, laughing and grabbing the beard with both hands. And they said, "Well, no, maybe it doesn't hurt him." And so my friend, Godoy, his name was, said, he would, yes, he'd come along with us. He'd just put a dressing on the baby first, and his wife would keep the dressings going while he was gone. And he got a good old piece of yucca. You know, that is the staple food. It is mania, it is cassava, it has all sorts of names, but it's a staple food, starch, of the jungle, the entire Amazon region. You find it everywhere from Colombia through Paraguay down to Argentina, everywhere. And because it's a very suitable jungle crop, from the time it's planted, you have a harvest in 6 months. And it's ideal climate and soil for it. Well, he took a piece of that, he peeled it, and inside there is inside the brown peeling, it's a tuber, like a potato, there is a sort of slimy, the inner skin, you might call it. It's a bast of phlegm. But, he took that and put the inner part is gelatinous. He put that on the baby's arms and bandaged it with good, clean, white bandages. And we went on up the river. We were gone 8 days exactly. When we came back, we dropped Godoy off at his house. We went in to see him, and the baby had grown perfect skin. There was one area, I measured it, 1 by 2 centimeters, where the skin had not yet completely grown back. The rest of it was perfect. You could not see at all where the burn had been. It was new, it was clean, it was perfect. No change in texture or color, no borders, no puckering, no anything. Now that is the most available of all possible medicines. Of course, you've got to be careful not to get, I think it would be a bad idea to use the one that's full of cyanide. Strangely enough, some yucca has to be cooked to get rid of the cyanide in it, which is an integral part of it, and then that's the yucca brava, and it's the same species. I've never figured this out. I'm not a botanist. They claim they can figure out why, but it's well known which ones have the poisonous principle and which ones are totally without it. And I would want to be very sure I used the one without, I think. So that is one of 2 plants that I know that does exactly that same thing. Of course, this was a very young baby, a 6-month-old, very healthy baby. But I assume, I haven't seen another case, the method doesn't seem to be known, even to the tribes, in any of the tribes I'm familiar with. Now that sort of thing could be investigated cheaply. Did you want to say something, Doctor? That could be investigated so cheaply, so easily. Why doesn't somebody?
Got me. I'm ready to go. How is that spelled?
YUCA. It is the staple food of the cities and the jungle everywhere except the mountains. It does not grow in cold climates.
I'm sure you could get it in the...
You can buy it in the Puerto Rican
LA,
stores.
Yes.
Yeah. You can buy it in all the stores. But you must get a very young tuber. I was told by my friend, Godoy. It has to be quite a young one. But it's available anywhere. Just make sure you don't get the one. I don't think... Doctor, yeah?
Isn't it the case that sometimes these kind of remedies lose their efficacy when you take them out of the social, cultural, and psychological environment or milieu that they were used in?
No, I haven't found that. Because I've used several I did not believe on myself. Because there wasn't anything else. But you remember my knees?
Yeah, I do remember.
When the motorcycle hit me in Nikita, Terence and Dennis were there at the time. And I got out of it very well. And the thing, except that all the scabs healed up, but my knees never went back to normal size. They stayed swollen, and they got worse and worse. And of course they hurt, but you can ignore things. I have a high pain threshold, and kept going until the left knee began to fold up every now and then. I'd go lurching along like an old drunk, and that was embarrassing. So I went over to see some friends near Pucallpa, an American doctor with him. And he said this, I can't handle this. You've got some bad tendon damage in there. It needs surgery. And I'm not a surgeon. You have to go to Lima. Well, I was not trusting any Peruvian surgeons at that particular time. I know one is very fine, but he's a neurosurgeon. And the state of medicine in that country is not the highest. And anyway, knees are very tricky. So I thought, well, why not try some of these kooky things that my Montaraces, my jungle men, the people who get plants for me, have suggested, because they kept saying, put kapinuri on it, put kapinuri. So I did, and that's very sticky sap of tree. And the tree is Closia nitida. It's a rubiaceae. And I put it on, and you're not supposed to get it wet. You're supposed to let it dry. Well, I don't know how you do that to your knees and still take a shower a couple of times a day, as you must do in that climate. And so I just put it on fresh each time, and pretty soon the pain stopped very quickly. I'd put it on, put a folded gauze over it with adhesive tape, and that was all. And they healed up perfectly, and they're still fine, and I have no problem, no pain, no swelling, no whatever. And it doesn't make sense. But I'm very glad it works. And then that to me is fairly good proof that it works. I was preparing to go to the States for surgery because I was quite certain there was no use in doing this, but try it. And so I've had several things that worked like that. There is, for example, a thing that dissolves kidney stones. I haven't had kidney stones, but kidney stones and gallstones. Though they're not identical chemically, it works perfectly for both of them. And my doctor in Iquitos, when I was first there, I had a doctor who was born in Iquitos, was a very good doctor, and he'd been educated in Argentina, I believe it was. And I had a hot gallbladder. I went to him, and when he saw the x-rays, he said, "Oh, gee, it's a shame. It's a pity you haven't got gallstones. If you had gallstones, we could just get rid of them like that with this plant, p30, they call it."